We're joined today by Brandon Munro, CEO of Bannerman Energy. Brandon, thanks for your time.
Thanks, David.
World-class uranium project in a world-class uranium province in Namibia. What are some of the highlights of the project and the area?
Well, starting with the project, it is world-class scale. We've got 208 million pounds, which is very, very large. And for many years, we were working on a large-scale development that would produce 7.2 million pounds. That's enough for about 18,000 megawatts of nuclear power. What we found in recent years is we needed to scale it down in order to get into production sooner, lower capex, lower development hurdles. And in 2019, we launched Etango 8, so named because it's 8 million tonnes processing throughput. Now what that means is we can get into production at about 3.5 million pounds annual production. That's enough for 7,000 to 8,000 megawatts of nuclear power. Still a large project, but we're into production sooner with lower development hurdles. Once we're into production, we can then look at expanding. Namibia is fantastic. You've been there, you've been to our site yourself, you've seen it all there. First of all, it's Africa for beginners. Namibia is the country that you'd go to and invest in if you were a bit worried about Africa as a continent and maybe got scared off by some of the diverse experiences that the 50 nations of Africa have. But Namibia, with Botswana, is really right at the apex of investability, livability. As you know, I lived there with my small family for 5 or 6 years, so absolutely loved it. But also from a uranium perspective, it's crucial that the folks out there understand uranium has that social, environmental, political dimension that slows projects down or stops them in their tracks. And Namibia's been producing and exporting uranium for 45 years. Deep water port, class 7 shipping, all of the infrastructure's there. So for a developer, which is what Bannerman Energy is now, coming into financing, marketing, and soon to start construction, it's such a pleasure to be in that environment with all of the infrastructure surrounding our licence area, as you've seen with your own eyes.
As you say, you're a developer. So how is the project developing and what are some of the milestones investors should be looking for?
Well, it's a really exciting time because we are about to come out with our definitive feasibility study on the Etango 8 project pathway. I mentioned that we were developing for a number of years a much larger project. So we did a DFS on that back in 2012 and then refreshed that in 2015. So this is quite a well-trodden path for us. And from an investor's perspective, that means that we've largely de-risked the transition from a PFS to a DFS. We released the PFS on Etango 8 in August last year, and we've told the market, and we will, deliver the DFS this quarter, so by the end of calendar 2022. And that puts us in a really exciting position. As the uranium market's really maturing and starting to climb out of the long bear market that's held this entire sector back, we're going to be ready, and we're going to be in a very small, select group of companies who are development ready in that situation. But also, we've got a project that will be current. There's been so much talk of inflation costs and changes in operating costs, and there's a real negative vibe about anyone who's releasing a feasibility study right now. Now, I think our shareholders will be very pleased with what we produce, but what it really does is it again distinguishes us with a hot off the press, high-end, very well constructed DFS that relies on an enormous decade-long volume of technical information. And I do really believe that that puts us in a special spot in terms of our industry standing at exactly the right time.
As you start to build a mine and move through into development, the key factor all investors look for is the team. Do you have the team to deliver this project?
Yeah, look, it's a very apt question because uranium expertise is few and far between. It's a sector that has been uncool for a long time. But we're very fortunate. Because we're in Namibia, there's 3 large-scale uranium mines that have been operating there, so there's a lot of expertise and skills, local, which is important. But also we've retained key expertise in uranium and Namibia. So I've been very involved in the nuclear sector. I'm on the advisory panel to World Nuclear Association after quite a detailed association with that group. But also in country, our chairman, Mike Leach, was the managing director of the Rossing uranium mine, which has operated for 45 years. And as you've seen, it's very much the closest analogue to what we will build. And this is a bulk tonnage operation. Mining is extremely important to us. And we, several years ago, recruited the mining manager from Rossing, Werner Ebold. And he's now our managing director in country. So that gives us really good coverage at that level. We're building the team right now. We've been in a process to recruit a chief operating officer, and I'm looking forward to presenting some exciting news there. And we're also building our marketing capability in the uranium space and the nuclear fuel cycle space. So we do have all of the key positions taken care of for uranium, for Namibia, for financing and development. And then we'll have the challenge of building out the team and employing 750 local people.
Right time, special spot, world-class project in a Tier 1 uranium jurisdiction. Exciting times ahead for Bannerman Energy and its shareholders. Brandon, thanks for your time.
Thanks, David.